Ahlan wa sahlan everyone, masah khair, good evening. I was thinking about all of the books that I have accumulated throughout my undergraduate studies as a professional creative writing major, which is a lot, but then also even my minor, as you know, I delve into the Arabic and Islamic studies. That requires a lot of research, a lot of books, a lot of different places to start, ways to go about things. So I figured it would be kind of cool to do a little video of the different books that I've used and that I'm planning on reading, but sound really interesting from the snippets on them. So basically the first one that I think of, the very first thing that comes into mind is Holy Quran. So this is bilingual, it's in Arabic and English, and it's got footnotes at the bottom explaining things, the Quranic exegesis, however you say that, I still can't pronounce it. But I spent an entire year translating different parts of this that were on the Taj Mahal, different inscriptions or paintings of Quranic surahs or chapters. So it was a very close look at the text and translations with cultural and historical context and nuances and arguing with certain translations and just how like some people identified things. So it was really interesting. But we did not use this in isolation. We used a whole lot more. This is a nice textbook, the Quranic Arabic textbook, basically. It walks you through the different surahs, and it has like charts and exercises and everything, and it's really helpful. We used this after we finished going through the Taj Mahal inscriptions to look further at more and shorter surahs of the Quran. And then this was our main book here. This is the Hans Ver. If you know anything about Arabic and learning Arabic, the Hans Ver is number one. It's organized by the root system, the Jabr, so you'd have to actually learn about Arabic grammar and roots and stuff before you can really use it, but once you can, it is so helpful. But that's not the only one we used either. We also used the dictionary of the Holy Quran. And these are words that are specific to the Quran, and they have sometimes words that don't exist in just regular modern standard or any kind of spoken Arabic. They're strictly Quranic. You only find these words in the Quran. Other words you find in both secular and religious terms, and it applies not only the religious, but it also has like related words and a little bit of context in different places in the Quran where that word is mentioned. Sometimes it's only mentioned once. Other times it's mentioned all throughout. So that is the Omar version. And that is very, very good. And when learning about Egyptian spoken Arabic, Kalimni Arabi. This is a very, very good one. Kalimni Arabi intermediate course in spoken Egyptian Arabic. It's very helpful. It's all in Arabic though. All of the directions, all of the drills, everything. There is no English. So that's just kind of something to keep in mind. If you're not at a level where you can read directions in Arabic, it might be a little bit harder. But there are archives or like a CD or things like that included where you can listen to native speakers say everything throughout the book. So that's helpful if you're at a more advanced level. When looking at the Quran and Women, yeah, Quran and Woman by Amina Wadud. This one I spent a lot of time reading, made lots of highlights and such. This was in my Women in the Ancient and Modern Middle East class, so that was like really, really interesting. So that's definitely, it's rereading the sacred text from a woman's perspective. And now we really want to include the women's perspective, so that's a good one to have. Obviously, for Christian-Muslim relations or theology of Islam compared to Catholicism, we have the Catholic Bible. This is the Ignatius version, but yeah, so you want one of those. You might even want one of these bad boys, the Catechism of the Catholic Church. And then when you're looking at more of outside, like established, you know, writings on the church, we have the doctors of the church, who are very well versed in catechesis and all of that great stuff, and have wonderful, wonderful enlightenments. So that's especially personally with taking my Catholic faith and connecting it to the Muslim faith. When you look into more of the mystic side, which I especially love, especially because I'm at St. Bonaventure University, which is Franciscan, St. Francis and the Foolishness of God. This one I have not gotten to yet, but it's basically all about St. Francis and his mysticism and just loving and yearning for God. So I'm excited to read that one. Mysticism, Holiness in the East and the West. This one I also have not read yet, but I am excited to. I am a college student, so these are outside readings that might not have time for just yet. But also, another mystic, St. John of the Cross, and Blessed Father Stefan Neme. Haven't read this one yet either, but the life and spirituality, it's supposed to be very miraculous. It's about like his miracles and stuff. This is The Last Monk of Terabine. This is very special. I have not read it yet, but I have met this monk. He is the last surviving monk from a basically a small massacre of monks, and Jean-Pierre, he's, I think, 93 years old now. I met him last summer in Morocco, where he's now living, and he's a really great guy. He has a wonderful smile. And lastly, Who Speaks for Islam? This is by John Esposito, who I also met a few years ago. He came to St. Bonaventure and gave a great talk, and just really kind of motivated me, because he's an Italian Catholic man who really has nothing to do with Islam, but he's very enlightened and educated and cultured and knows how to make good connections. And he co-wrote it with Dalia Mogahid. So he knows that, you know, sometimes you can't just say it on your own from your own personal perspective in education. Sometimes you need someone to support that. So those are just some of the books, the ones that I brought to school with me. But I hope that somebody out there enjoys what I'm reading. Masalama.